It's good to be back. We head right into game number 2. An incredible, unprecedented upset from Complexity in game 1. And the question is, how does OpTic adjust?
You gotta stay hungry. OpTic Gaming, you know, it's hard to eat when you're full, right? And that's what OpTic Gaming is. They're the world champs. It's one of the reasons why continued success is so impressive, because once you've attained it, natural human instinct is to let off the gas a little bit. And that's exactly what we saw from them in game 1, which is why it's so concerning now in game 2. OpTic Gaming bouncing back, readjusting the strategy, and they're going to have to really take a deep look at themselves. It's tough to do it right now in game, but I think after today, really take a deep look at themselves and adapt a little bit, because they're starting to get figured out. The likes of Complexity coming back in that hill is very concerning for OpTic, but a comfortable, safe lead ×2, 8-4 off the start here in game 2.
And that's the way they want to adjust with a strong start in game 2. But Lucid, oh, taken down. Even with the use of that thruster, it's Tusk who comes out with the win. And it's little moments like that. They're going to keep the hype and the hope alive for Complexity. They are still in this fight, only 2 points down. The fight comes through utility, and Cycle and Collect working together. Two incredible players, and you combine their forces. All of a sudden, Complexity are playing so smart, so heads up, and they're right back tying up this game. Cycle wins out the 1v1 to take the lead.
Yeah, massive props to the homie Ashes, one of the most winningest coaches in console history, now working as a GM for Complexity. A great offseason acquisition in Collect, pairing maybe the number 1 and number 2 best young up-and-coming players together. I love this team composition. I love this Complexity roster.
I'm gonna just insert here because the timing feels right, that Collect is playing like he has something to prove. And I don't think there's any bad blood between him and Sentinels whatsoever. I don't think that at all. But I love that Collect is taking that motivation from leaving Sentinels and saying, well, fine, I'm just gonna give it 117% over here for Complexity.
Yeah.
Because that's what Collect has been doing throughout this whole weekend and this series included.
And that's a great point, Magic. That's exactly it. When you're a player that gets discarded by your old squad, I don't care who you are, you're gonna take it a little personal. You're gonna want to especially prove yourself after getting a team, like after changing teams, right? So for Collect, despite the fact that he wasn't necessarily the problem for Sentinels, he's almost gonna play like it, because he wants to prove that he was not the problem for that Sentinels roster. In fact, he's the fix for Complexity, as they're up 4 over the world champ OpTic Gaming.
Complexity, seed 11, and they might want to take one of those ones out of their seeding if they can take down the number 1 seeded OpTic Gaming. 4-point lead for Complexity approaching the mid game, and it's Collect with the sidekick, winning a straight up 1v1 against Trippy, and now taking the 1v1 against the MVP Lucid. Comes out with the assist in that fight, and APG, no shields, Dynamo the damage, and Complexity are extending that lead. They keep climbing, now it's a 6-point advantage.
This is so, I just got goosebumps, because we might experience a sea change here with this tournament. Proton Gaming in the 10th seed right now. So far, so good. They're looking good to make that DreamHack Dallas qualifier as a top 10 team, but they're out. They lost, I believe, to SSG. So now Complexity, I want to say that they're right there on the cusp of securing that top 10 seed for DreamHack Dallas. But with the win here against OpTic Gaming and a top 3-4 finish, you have to almost assume it would be a sure thing. So massive series here for Complexity. They need this win against OpTic to assuredly qualify for DreamHack Dallas.
They win this series, they're guaranteed top 3 because they would break into winners finals. What a massive move that would be for the 11 seed Complexity. And if they're going to pull it together, Cycle is one of the key players to keep an eye out for. If I talk about him too long, of course he's going to be taken down, but not before he has the 8 and 5. Look also, if you will, at the assist column. Every player from Complexity with 3 or 4 assists, a total of 14, as the team fire is helping them to gain this advantage, holding on to the 6-point lead as we creep up on that 30 kill mark. 1 kill away for Complexity to hit what we think of as the Slayer threshold, and it's Tusk with the kill. A 1v1 against APG. APG is 1 HP, trying to double back, shield up, and Tusk is going to take advantage with a high ground position, an 8-point game.
There's that big brain from Tusk. We talked about it earlier. He's the strategizer for this Complexity squad, and my God, did he have the positioning and movement figured out for APG. A lot of times guys get slippy there and avoid Tusk. get back to full shield. Tusk didn't even let APG sneak away for a second as APG gets a little bit of comeback, a little bit of revenge as he takes him down, but Monster's going to trade him out in a sequence and situation where Complexity can trade out for the rest of this game, and they find themselves with a 2-0 lead over OpTic. What's happening?
Chaos. This is the weekend. This is the 4K for Chaos happening right now, and it's Tusk versus Trippy. Tusk gets a clean kill, a little bit of a burst damage onto Formal. I think Formal's gonna be able to live. No, it's the trap coming through. Tusk sets up that play for Cycle. Cycle capitalizes. Complexity right now rotating across this map as a unit. They have such great cover fire, such great cleanup kills as Cycle finds another. He's traded out. They can take those trades all day, all night, ride this to the victory. Yeah, the math just isn't adding up here for OpTic Gaming. We just breached the 40s for Complexity, and you have 2 members of OpTic Gaming past that 12 death threshold. That is extremely tough. That's one of the reasons why Complexity almost has to play 10% of what they've been looking like. If they're going to hold on to this game, it should be fairly easy for them to just trade out. And with Collect flying around the map like he is, that should be a little bit easier. But just like that, he goes down. OpTic gets the camo. This is their chance right here. Oh, but Lou said he had the camo. That was maybe the turnaround, the pivot point, but he's burned out with the Dynamos, and instead it's Tusk with the double kill. Eyeing the potential for the triple. The assist comes through. 3 away as Complexity extend their lead to 9. Not just leading in this game, but almost at a domination level. 49 to 39, 10-point lead. 1 kill left. Is it going to be Monster? No, it's Collect with the final kill. Every player from Complexity in double digits. The assist coming through, and the 10-point victory. OpTic in an unfamiliar place with their backs against the wall, down 0-2 in the series. I don't know. That game 1 was a choke. Game 2, though, it wasn't a choke. It was just the lack of communication and cohesion, oddly enough, from OpTic Gaming. How many times... Now, one example is a great example, Tusk versus APG in the generator. How many times, Magic, did we see OpTic Gaming fighting in 1v1 scenarios? Their benefit, their strength is their teamwork, their camaraderie, their understanding of each other after playing with each other for years. This Complexity roster, half disregarded, half new players just a week ago. They have no experience with each other. So it's really surprising to me to see OpTic Gaming play for so many 1v1s when the teamwork is enough to take down this Complexity roster. They need to pull it together. They have an opportunity here back against the wall, but needing a reverse sweep against their neighbor in Complexity to win this battle for Texas. OpTic Gaming throughout the season, we've only seen FaZe being able to give them a run for their money until now. Literally right now, in these minutes, in these games, all of a sudden, a new challenger has entered the scene. Not only a challenger, Magic, a disruptor. That is what Complexity is looking like right now. They're more than just a challenger. They're disrupting. They're sending this tournament into chaotic frenzy if they were to take down Complexity versus FaZe in the winter finals. Wait, no. We had penciled in OpTic and FaZe for all of the winners finals and all the grand finals. Something's going against the script. Everything's going against the script. Throw the script out the window. I know Lucy followed the script when I asked for a perfect kill with a shock rifle yesterday, but today there is no script. Collect looking like he's ready to prove himself on this Complexity roster. Games 1 and 2 very strong for Collect. Keep your eyes out for this young up-and-coming gunner. And it's Cycle on the other side getting 2 slays. No time on the oddball yet as the fight is focused on the overshield win. Complexity in position. Collect is the last alive. He's gonna get collapsed. APG rushes forward for that overshield. APG wins that OS, and with that overshield, wins out the kill. This is where OpTic should get their hands on the objective. That Collect goes down there, but he does a great job maintaining presence and pressure there on the overshield. Matt was not able to really maximize any of that overshield. Now he's in a fight for his life. If it weren't for the shroud screen, he'd probably already be dead, but now he is. A great job there by Complexity going all 3-4 down. OpTic, Formal, and APG running a clinic on overshield, but they don't have much to show for it now, starting the scoring with 15 and rolling. Big thanks once again to Taylor on the stats saying that OpTic's win rate is 75% when they go down 0-2. So if you're going to have a team in this position with their backs against the wall, OpTic know how to ice up. Will they bring that here in game 3? So far, a little bit of a lead for them, but they got to watch out. It's Collect with the sniper. Collect trying to focus on players at the back of elbow. Misses that snipe while Lucid connects on the grenade. Now it's a Monster versus Lucid fight. Trippy here in the fight as well, helping out. Everybody focused on the back of tower, and they're neglecting the oddball sitting dormant at the bottom of the map.
Solid 30 seconds of milk, though, for OpTic Gaming as they almost course correct a little bit. You know, the plane that they're in, the ship that they're flying has a little bit of smoke burrowing from that right wing, but they're bringing it back together. A great start here in game 3 where they need it most, but now you have Complexity here. A fairly convincing hold on this tower. The Achilles spine gonna take down Trippy. It's Tusk with another big brain play and positioning for the win.
And he's doing more. He's throwing hands at everybody. The melee kill, the back smack onto Overshield to get the Achilles spine. The one weakness of that Overshield is the one-hit melee on the back to take him down in one fell swoop. And now it's Collect. 4 slays to his name, and now playing the objective as well. We know that Collect primarily is that slaying, that aggression player, but he's filling in where he needs to for this roster. 3 go down for Complexity. The oddball is top of the map in the nick of time. Complexity only 7 seconds down.
That's a great reset there, but however, a stagger slay there as Tusk goes down, so Complexity not going to have full numbers to work with. Because of that, you're going to see OpTic Gaming off rip, regain control of that oddball, just as it looked like Complexity had that cheeky play ball. All 3-4 went down for them. They had the play, as we see similar play there from OpTic Gaming as they play this one off with a 20-second lead.
A much quicker response this time around from Complexity, and that's what they're going to need. They need to keep things sharp. They need to keep things crispy, because if they let OpTic hit their comfort level, right, that's where their #1 seed, their best in the world, shines through. Yep. Complexity need to keep OpTic on their back foot. They need to keep them staggered. Ooh. And that kill from Tusk onto Lucid is going to stagger those spawns out, just what Complexity need. OpTic are rotating that oddball back to the house side. Formal covering here at the cuts. Looking for that takedown. He's going to find the back of Tusk, cleans up that kill, and saves the life of his teammates. So a little bit of a numbers advantage here for OpTic, but 2 go down on the opposite side. Even while Formal and Lucid were winning one half of the map, the oddball control is being flipped over to Complexity.
He went down, Tusk went down, but made a great play as the last player alive. Traded out over on the C tower. Because he traded out, you could see in the POV Trippy, he was edging out. He was starting to make his way towards the snipe tower. Saw his teammate go down to Tusk and said, oh, let me bring this back to A, where Complexity dominated. Got a team wipe, got another team wipe, got the Overshield oddball control in their favor as well. Down 20 seconds, but with all the tools in the kit to make a comeback.
Every tool in the kit in control of Complexity on this comeback. Now only 14 seconds down, and Collect takes down Formal. They have the sniper in the hands of Tusk. He might catch sight of Trippy jumping up to the top of sandbags. That plasma pistol trying to counter the OS. Tusk sidesteps the plasma pistol burst, but Trippy finds the kill with the BR plays. Traded back out by Cycle. Oddball is dropped for the time being. It's not reset. It's just sitting there in the window ledge. A 4-point game, and now Cycle is the last alive, trying to desperately rotate away from the incoming push of OpTic.
But look at this. Cycle baits that ball out to Tusk. So he says, Tusk, I'm going to bring some attention your way. I'm going to bring some battle. And he takes it head on. APG doesn't go down to the Walshy Needler. So massive numbers advantage now on the screen door for OpTic Gaming, as the 2 other players, Formal and Lucid, might have to make their way to the oddball. But no, APG is going to make way to them. But that cross through the cuts gets called out by Monster. And Complexity now has their first lead of the game. Wow, it took us several minutes to get to this point, but Complexity looking strong once again.
Monster, even with the oddball, uses it to just slam the skull into the helmet of the opposition. Gets the kill. Complexity don't look now. A 10-second lead and 30 seconds away. Look at Formal off the spawn. No numbers. Formal's the only one alive as all 4 went down.
Oh my God.
Can't push solo. He has to stall. He has to wait.
Oh, look at this rotation
from Complexity, because they're rotating for the new Overshield that's coming up in 5 seconds.
Oh, Formal turned the corner, hoping to see the oddball carrier, somebody from Complexity. Instead, it's just Collect, as that oddball rotates all the way to A. So all the while, OpTic are getting slays, but Complexity is outplaying them with the positioning once again.
Ooh, Trippy gets the clutch double kill. Formal set up one play, and now it's the overshield and the sniper in the hands of this multi-FPS champion Formal. Finds the assist onto one, looking for the no-scope onto Cycle. Nades out towards that key door, and the second no-scope snipe is gonna find its mark. It's OpTic with the oddball. Just 15 seconds down in score, climbing up and Collect. First one off that respawn. Complexity only have one last push to get right back into this game and to keep their lead.
OpTic with that oddball control, right on the brink of tying and potentially taking the lead in the end game. Both these two teams past the 80-point mark as OpTic does in fact regain the lead with emphatic control. All four dead for Complexity. This could be the final hold.
This might be it for round number one. Barring a miracle, OpTic just need 10 more seconds. Formal is holding back the wave of Complexity with the use of that sniper. And then the oddball is being held, locked down by APG at the bottom of tower. Clock's gonna run out. That's it. OpTic do ice up in round one, but they're not back in this game or in this series just yet. Complexity, now all sights on you. How do you respond?
OpTic historically has a slow start, right? They seem to get warmed up before our eyes, and I see that from Formal right now. Formal seems to be heating up, and if you're a Complexity fan, that is a sight for sore eyes, as you've got the MVP in MVP form now in game 3 at 21 and 13. Lucid having a great game. Formal picking up as well.
APG at the bottom of the tunnel, 2 players in front, so he's taken down. Lucid tries to come through for the cleanup kills and even more importantly for that S7 control, but there's 3 players from Complexity isolating Lucid. Cycle comes out with the kill with the sniper in hand. Killing advantage a little bit on the side of OpTic, but Complexity need to even that right back out. They're gonna get this round 2 win. APG on the elbow is gonna find the scope. Cycle lines up the headshot. Patience pays off. The slays come through.
APG peaks and loses his face because of it. Now you have Formal pushing in, contesting that oddball, but he trades out on Cycle, who drops, wow, that's oddball, heatwave, and sniper down over on the C plat. That's going to be a highly contested area on this map, as you can see how quickly APG wants to get back into this fight, knowing that so much is up for control there, right alongside that dummy door.
Not a lot of time on the objective just yet, but APG was the player to clutch out the final seconds in round number 1, and then in the opening of round 2, it's once again APG. Impressive 88 plus seconds of objective time and going positive in the game. You gotta shout out those objective players playing the role of like a support for the team. Lucid trying to stay alive, trying to frag out. He's gonna find the grenade, the frag from Collect instead. Formal also going for slay after slay, but look at Complexity. They have control of the overshield if they can stay alive. Trippy on the flank, finds the back, finds the kill. Overshield just 3 seconds away, and here comes Trippy looking for that quick pickup, but the grenade did enough damage to get him weak. He stays alive and then ices up for the kill.
Yeah, we saw OpTic kind of lull themselves to sleep in game 1. You have to hope for Complexity that they don't feel like this series is over, as it is far from over. I can't recall a series being 0-2 in favor of an underdog where it felt like a reverse sweep was so likely. I don't know. It's hard to guarantee a reverse sweep, but I gotta feel like we're in the 85-90 percentile for something like that. When you look at the likes of OpTic Gaming with that 1 seed, the former defending champ, you know that they have everything it takes once they figure it out, once they turn it on, which they seem to be doing here in game 3.
Well, OpTic are 75% as far as the stats are concerned. Being able to come back, being down 0-2, but they got to deal with Cycle, the triple kill. Complexity looking for the 3rd win. And the 3 kills come through for Cycle. Miraculously, as the last player live, APG gets a little bit of rotation on that oddball, but it's Tusk getting the final kill, that cherry on top. And this is a good setup for Complexity. They can capitalize on this. Watch out for Trippy at the bottom of the tower, rotating here to elbows. Might catch the back of Tusk, and there's the fire. Trippy was able to sneak around the back of tower unexpectedly and is still causing chaos.
Oh, 4 down for Complexity and 4 seconds plus easily for OpTic Gaming now. peering above the snipe tower, but Trippy's all by himself. You're going to see Lucid maybe try to get back to him as he does that. So great recognition of the spacing on the map. You now have Lucid at the top, Snipes locking things down. You have two players, I believe, Formal and APG over at B, but they let Tusk slip through. Unbelievable play from Tusk. Just didn't look like OpTic had all of the setups covered for. Tusk finds a way to sneak through as that oddball resets.
It's going to take more than one breakthrough for Complexity to get back in this game. They're down by nearly 60 points as OpTic spawn up on that B side. Trippy is the first one to extend, trying to chase down Collect, who has the sniper, but it's Complexity who have map advantage when it comes to the overshield. Can they keep both power-ups in their control? The three-team push through top mid. OpTic, they locked sights on that target, and they made sure to get the win. The repulsor play. Where is overshield? Was that overshield getting launched with that repulsor, or was it a shroud screen?
I'm not sure, but one thing I know is that Complexity is in the blender right now. Every time we go back, it's 3-4 down for Complexity. They're getting staggered. They might not get another chance to hold this oddball if this continues at this rate. OpTic with 86 seconds already, only 12 for Complexity.
14 seconds left, and 14 seconds is all that Complexity has. Trippy with 1 round left in the sniper, and Complexity need to have nearly a perfect objective hold. They need to go straight balling in this round number 2. Elusive gets a quick touch of that oddball, baiting it out to the open field. Snipe is gonna miss. That's sniper ammo expended. Tusk versus Formal back in the window. Both players are weak, but it's gonna be the team fire from Trippy securing that kill. Trippy goes down. 13 seconds left for OpTic, but this is anybody's oddball up the crowd.
Oh, here we go. This is the first time in recent sequences that Complexity has had numbers. They're going to be able to take the oddball away to A because of it. And if you can take down Lucid here on Overshield, potentially grab that next Overshield, I don't know, the path to a comeback is there for Complexity. It's going to be difficult, but it's there nonetheless. Just kidding. Whoa, 3-4 go down for Complexity. Tusk, the only player off spawn, and that will just about do it. You're going to see a desperation effort here from Complexity.
Almost mathematically impossible. 8 seconds on the respawn and then crossing the map. That's going to be Trippy holding on to the oddball, and there they are, about 2 seconds too late. OpTic finally get a win on the board against Complexity. Is this the start of a reverse sweep, or is this the dying breath before OpTic is unconventionally sent into the lower bracket?
It almost feels like OpTic's like training themselves after that game 3, because that's exactly what, like, if OpTic played like that in games 1 and 2, we're packing it up. We're on our way to the winners finals with OpTic and FaZe. But I don't know. I don't know if OpTic's playing for intel. You know, we've seen some of that. We saw last year Cloud9 did that often in these online tournaments. Almost looked like they were playing for intel as opposed to the win. I'm not necessarily saying that's what OpTic is doing here, but you're seeing a little bit of it as they find their form, regain in game 3, and they do it like we expect from OpTic. Complexity never really even having much of a chance. They did okay in that round 1 to contest, but round 2 for OpTic Gaming, it almost felt like a 100-0 round. They were so proficient.
It was a very proficient game 3 and a little bit more of what we anticipated seeing from OpTic Gaming. And I'm hearing from Snow Stats that it's 100% the start of a reverse sweep. We'll see what happens in the next 2 games. Complexity are still in the fight, and they're taking that fight to the streets with a little bit of a skirt, hoping that Complexity can speed their way through the rest of this series.
Yeah, you're going to need OpTic a little vroom, vroom, if they want to speed back up. Because, yeah, I honestly think no pun or no troll intended. That's what OpTic really, that's the key. OpTic needs to pick up the pace. Too often they get the lead and park the bus, change the pace of play, really slow things down when, I don't know, I don't necessarily think, I still think that they should slow things down with these leads. They don't have to play crazy chaotic like the likes of a FaZe clan that's always aggressive, but I think for OpTic Gaming, if they crank down to 10% when they have the lead, maybe, you know, crank down to 25% pace when you have the lead, and that might be enough to maintain as OpTic Gaming got a little too cute with the lead in game 1, and that's why we're in this situation right now where OpTic looking to reverse sweep if they want to beat Complexity here in the winter semis. Wow.
We'll see which team comes out with the speed and the tenacity to take this game win. And I'm going to call this the game in the series. If OpTic take this, I'll be a believer on the reverse sweep, okay? But obviously Complexity could lock it down right here, right now, not leaving things up to that game 5 Slayer. It's going to be the strongholds. The early 2 zones captured by OpTic. Tusk with that stalker rifle, my favorite weapon on this map. Now pairing it with the shroud screen, doubles back, waits for a little bit of health, waits for the shield regen. And this is what I really enjoy about watching Tusk. Doesn't seem to overextend, makes some really smart plays.
He's just so smart. Even that shroud screen, he goes down, but he made it much more difficult for Formal. Formal actually had to get a blind shot to get that kill, and transitions into the perfect 4 shots. We said earlier that Formal was heating up, and we're seeing just that, starting off this game 4-1.
An early triple cap from OpTic Gaming, and this is looking like more of the same, where Complexity are struggling to find their footing. They're losing on the objective side, they're losing on the slaying side. It's APG and Cafe, 2 players from Complexity in front of him, and it's Monster who cleans up the rest of that kill with the assault rifle, no less. Traded right back out for tripping, even off of those slays. No stronghold control. Complexity are quickly bleeding out 2 points at a time.
Look how quickly Formal looks to contest C. He knows those red room spawns are going down. Great prediction of the spawns there from Formal, and because of it, he has the back of his opponent. But the trade grenade, yeah, gonna connect. Just as OpTic Formal was on a killing spree, Collect shuts it down with the trade from the grave. But taking a look at the overall scoreboard, 130 and rolling for OpTic Gaming. This is we're steam rolling towards a game 5.
Yeah, full speed ahead, all gas, no brakes for OpTic, crossing that halfway point before Complexity can even get a single point on the board. They finally break that goose egg with a couple of points, and it's not going to be given to them for long. It's Trippy on seed, Monster rounding the corner. Collect might come to help out. Look at Monster being the distraction, setting up that play for the teammate Collect. A grade 2v1 team play from Complexity, but they don't have any time to celebrate because the reverse trap is coming in. Lucid with a rocket, ready to storm the castle, takes down the kill. It was almost the verge of a triple cap for Complexity on the flip side of this game.
Yeah, this is exactly what Complexity needed. After 2 minutes, Magic, OpTic had 133 seconds, so 2 minutes off the clock and more than 2 minutes on the board for OpTic Gaming. You're kind of going, how the hell does that add up? But hey, it's part of the efficiency. When you're a world champ, you find ways to make up an extra 10 seconds, as Complexity needs much more than just those 10 extra seconds of objective efficiency, as OpTic has regained B and C, regained the scoring. And at this rate, they're already almost approaching the 200s, Magic. So Complexity with Cycle, that's what we're seeing from OpTic Gaming right now, cycling through this map, putting Complexity in a blender.
You know what? Maybe Complexity caught OpTic a little bit off guard. It's like you stroll into class and all of a sudden, oh, pop quiz, everybody. But you don't have to be afraid of a pop quiz if you have memorized the textbook. And that's what OpTic have done. They have the mastery of this game. Even if they were caught a little bit off guard, a little on their back foot, they're right back in this series. And it's Lucid with a Stalker Bulldog combo, making quick work of that kill. Shifts it into the double kill, the killing spree, OpTic domination.
This is going to creep into the 200s for OpTic Gaming, and for Complexity, mental in shambles at this rate. If this goes the way it goes, and how tough is that? You're up 2-0 on OpTic Gaming and your mental's in shambles. That's just how it goes when you're up against the world champs. They will find ways to get creative, get a little Walt Disney, and find a way to win. As we're seeing just that from OpTic Gaming, as they just now crossed into the 200s. Only 20 plus seconds for Complexity, but they're scoring on C.
Wanted to see the frenzy coming through for Lucid, but Monster finds the answer maybe just in time here for Complexity. Collect with the rockets, finds a couple of slays. It's the 1v1, Formal versus Collect, and it's the help again. Every time I think we have an isolated 1v1, it's the help coming through. Both of these teams seem really locked in as their roster, even with Complexity, half their roster being changed. Look at the team fire! Look at the trap, sets up a double kill for Cycle. You have a brief moment of points here for Complexity, but they have no time to breathe. OpTic are right back in the fight.
Yeah, this is kind of wild because OpTic are only up by 2 team wipes. 7-8 slays separate these two teams, but the scoreboard much more than just 2 team wipes. This is almost like if you had an extra 3 to 4, maybe 5 team wipes. But just as I say that, Complexity looks to creep into the 100s and cut this lead in half.
Going to cut the lead in half. They've already hit that 91-second mark and counting, but it's going to be Formal rotating through red room. That's going to clean up this kill on Cycle, unless Cycle finds the incredible reversal. Down goes Cycle, but he dealt out the melee before going down as Tusk around the corner. He finds Formal at 1 shot. It's not enough. 3 go down for Complexity. B is flipping over to OpTic. They're back in the points and only 45 seconds away.
Feels like what could be the final hold here for OpTic Gaming in a game 4. That could set up the reverse sweep for the world champion. And against the Complexity roster, again, that desperately needs this upset, this insurmountable upset to feel a little bit better about qualifying for DreamHack Dallas in just over 1 month. Complexity, the task at hand is tall, but they've got the roster to, I believe, do it.
Right now they're holding on. Collect with the kill. Do they have the roster to get this upset? Looking a little desperate, at least as far as game 4 is concerned. As Collect is taken down, Lucid staying alive at the top of C. Points still ticking for OpTic, and a nice little reset of the hill, not to give Complexity any footing to build off of. OpTic just needs 20 more seconds. Lucid, the push is coming in. 3 players from Complexity all rotating over. Trippy cleans up 1, make it 2, using the rockets to set up that double kill. And Lucid is just stalling for time. Still trapped, still outnumbered. And even off of those plays, OpTic don't get a foot onto B, which is where I would have expected them to divert their attention. Complexity are holding on to the majority of zones, and they need to play perfect Halo for the rest of this game.
Clock stop for now, but B at the 99 percentile for OpTic Gaming. Look how close it is. Oh, but it gets reset by Collect. The young gun sliding through, resetting B and resetting the hopes here for Complexity on a comeback, but they've got to maintain B. OpTic with scoring in the hill once again. Monster, last player alive. He's going to have to win this 1v2 against Lucid. Starts off well with taking down Lucid. Now he's got Trippy with full shields. Takes him down just a little bit, but way up to allow this Complexity roster to potentially clean up Trippy.
Well, and he got the reset in the middle of that fight, even in the middle of the 1v1. He got the zone reset, so that means OpTic had to start over with capturing the hill. It's enough time for Collect to get on to C, but they're losing A in the process. Trippy captures B. Lucid is locking down A. Here comes the push from Complexity. 2 players rushing to B, and Collect with the kills, with the Bulldog, but he's outnumbered. Time runs out. They were building another monumental push, but it was that early lead, that 130 plus points from OpTic, that gives them the win, and just 1 game away from the reverse sweep.
Oh, what better way to start off Championship Sunday than with a best of 5, no less. A reverse sweep on the line here for OpTic Gaming. Look at the score disparity. Game 1 was really close. Game 2, pretty convincing, honestly, for Complexity. That was an impressive win for them. But here in games 3 and 4, it has really been all domination for OpTic Gaming, looking like the 1 seed. They almost, I would say, looked like the 11 seed in games 1 and 2. You had a little bit of a seed and play style flip, but now OpTic Gaming has woken up. They're warmed up, and they look primed to complete the reverse sweep here as we approach game 5.
You called this series the battle for Texas, and OpTic have been the Texan kings throughout. And if we're looking at game 5 throughout 2023, OpTic are 6-1, looking to make that a 7-1. The iciest, most clutch team in the league being put to the test yet again. Looking back at the replays from this match, was there a turning point in the game for you, or was it just the 130-0 lead?
Wasn't necessarily a turning point for me. It was the fact that Lucid looked like his starting weapon was the stalker rifle, right? Like, you go into a custom game against some bots and you say, oh, I'll take the stalker, give me a sniper secondary, whatever you want. That's what it looked like from Lucid, as he had full control of the sandbox. And I didn't see an instance where we went to his POV magic where he didn't have the stalker out. So I think that control of the positioning that comes with it and the damage that comes with it, that was the not necessarily turning point, but just continuous domination there in game 4 for OpTic and the likes of Lucid.
Maybe not the turning point, but maybe like the key strategy, right? The key player, the key breakdown that led them to that win. And Lucid with the stalker rifle, something to worry about. And I like how we're headed here to recharge. I actually really enjoy in a best of 5 when we get to that game 5, when we see the bookends. We started on recharge, we're back on recharge.
That's interesting.
I think it gives like an interesting storyline to the series to bookend the same map, obviously different modes. And this is where Complexity started off their 2-0 lead in the series, was here on recharge.
Well, for OpTic Gaming, you might expect the likes of Lucid to pop off with that shock rifle here on recharge, but don't be surprised if you see Formal with it in his hands, dominating with it. Or honestly, like one of the best like sleepy snipers in the league. You don't really think of Formal as a main sniper because you got Lucid on the team, but he is equally as talented with it. And then on the side of Complexity, I gotta look at the young guns. I know it's a lot of pressure to put on some young players here, but I'm looking at Collect and Cycle. I'm looking at these guys to use this game 5, win or lose, as a building block for the rapport and chemistry that if you can line up with the likes of Collect and Cycle, you have one of the greatest duo pairings in the league and one of the youngest at that. So one of the things I love most about Roster Mania Magic is it's kind of like a battle between GMs and orgs at that point to see who made the right call, to see who made the right team changes. And right now, Complexity got to be pretty happy with their team changes, but still has one more task to where they can feel comfortable again about that seeding spot for DreamHack Dallas.
Yes, it's been a positive, victorious weekend for Complexity already, but oh boy, the icing on the cake if they can get this upset in a game 5 over OpTic. They've poised themselves in the position to take this series away to secure that winner's finals. And it is going to be that game slayer. Remember the 50-39, one of the most decisive wins in the whole series was that Complexity Game 2 Slayer. They can bring back some more of the same here. That would be maybe the upset of the year, to be honest. I feel like it might be a little hyperbolic, but I'm going to claim it. This would be the upset of the year if Complexity can clutch out the game 5.
And let's not forget, at Charlotte on land, we had Quadrant with a sub take OpTic to game 5. So OpTic, they've always bent. They've never broken. Will this be the first time that they break as we hop on board for a game 5 Slayer on Recharge?
On board right now with Cycle, one of those up-and-coming gunners that you said keep your eye on. Starting off the game 2-0, tossing out the grenades. Trippy trying to push through. Mangler doors and be stopped short, but it's the shock rifle in the hands of Formal. Just getting warmed up. Look at this patience. Locking down the high ground. Gets the damage onto Tusk, but has to abandon that fight. In fact, Cycle, how does he find the line for that push? He rotated through gold pipes. He finds the takedown. Shock rifle should be on the ground up for grabs for Cycle, but he doesn't find it.
Cycle with the flawless start here, wiping OpTic Gaming without hardly even taking any damage. Starting off this game 5 Team Slayer at 4-0, and on the other side of that young gun duo, you got Collect with a 2.0 KD. Cycle with the killing spree, leading his squad here in a crucial, pivotal game 5.
Cycle's killing spree is what leads them to this 4-point advantage early on. Even in that game 2 Slayer that Complexity won, it took them until about mid-game to start to break away with any kind of lead. It was very dicey. It was very back and forth, neck and neck throughout the early stages of the game. So now we're seeing something different. We're seeing Complexity with a little bit of control, a full team wipe advantage. Collect now with the shock rifle, half of the ammo left to utilize. He gets the body shot onto APG. Formal is going to take that 1v1. Collect is going to fall back, holding on to the power weapon, holding on to his life. Push doesn't come through though. Right now, OpTic are holding on to that control tower, and now the trap is in as Collect has 2 players pushing him from the top of Attic.
Tusk goes down, so that's gonna mean some imminent pressure on the right side for Collect, but I love his process there. He had that push coming from the long haul, but he set his sights on blue hall, knowing that APG was gonna be calling out to Formal, that Collect had snipe over here. So great positioning, great survivability, causing some frustration in the comms maybe even for OpTic Gaming as they finally take down Collect and Cycle, but not before maintaining that 3-kill lead.
APG does find a double kill to keep OpTic Gaming within arm's reach. What a weird thing for me to have to say right now, but Trippy has the 1v1. He's eliminated. Monster caught out on low ground, and it's Formal in the back of A. There's 1, 2, maybe 3 players from Complexity. Just that stranglehold that Complexity has, their team fire, their map positioning, it's working to keep them with this 4-point advantage. But it's OpTic that might have them trapped back at the elevator. Yeah,
Formal there looked a little, he kind of telegraphed the trade there. You can see him go for the trade on elevator with Tusk. Tusk noticed that, recognized that. I'm going to say it again, one of the smartest players in the game, Tusk. Not a surprise if you watch his gameplay, but that step back on the elevator is what allowed him to take down Formal cleanly, not trade out. And because of that, they're building on this lead. Now up 8, 2 team wipes separating these 2 teams. Wow.
Take the stats and throw them out the window, Tony style right now, because Complexity have an 8-point lead. The 11 seed trying to mount the ultimate upset over the number 1 seed OpTic Gaming, trying to lock in that winner's final position. and 30 slays away from doing it. We have a brief slowdown. Both teams kind of claiming their turf, cutting the map in half. And it might be the shock rifle pick that opens up the next round of slays, or that active camo 10 seconds away.
12 to 20 complexity in game 5. This is unbelievable. And if you focused in on two individuals, it's Cycle out-dueling the MVP Lucid. Unbelievable performance here from the young guns, both Cycle and Collect at a 2.0 KD plus. Now Cycle's 9.0, man. 2.0. That's disrespectful. He's 9.0. Go looking for the 10.0, but no, he goes down in the long haul against APG, and now Cycle going down. This is a moment for OpTic to take advantage of it.
Is that Tusk with the camo? Am I seeing that correctly? It looks like the first pick is Formal going down. No, it's Collect rather with the camo. 2 repulsors as well, and the shock rifle once again in Collect's control. Collect has been an active participant in 9 total slays and only 2 deaths. And Mikowski, I have to give you full credit when you singled out Cycle and Collect. Look at them, both with 9 and 2. If you add up the kills and assists here for Collect, which you should in a game slayer, his assists also important as Collect finds the shock rifle, gets the takedown, looking for a double. His camo is worn out. He might need to hit a perfect in order to stay alive, but instead it's Lucid finding him on the death, finding the last round of that shock rifle. Complexity at the halfway point and holding on to a 7-point lead. And
I don't know. I'm just going to throw this out for the OpTic fans will love this, but maybe this is the best case scenario for OpTic Gaming, because here previously we've seen them up 7 in Slayers and really play to trade out. Now they know that they need to keep the emphasis, keep the pressure up on this complexity roster. Otherwise, they will absolutely go down in game 5. So a little bit of a reach and a stretch. But how odd is that we're having to reach and stretch to find ways for OpTic Gaming to beat complexity?
Absolutely unprecedented, unexpected, but this is the hand that OpTic is dealt. How do they choose to play it? Lucid rushes through the door, but the perfectly timed plasma grenade is going to be too much damage for him to soak up. An 8-point lead here for complexity as APG is in the back of elevator. Cycle lines up some shots through the cover. Camo 5 seconds away.
Crucial camo pickup coming up here. As Cycle goes down, that's huge. Formal needs to stay alive, though, because he got that melee from Cycle. He's not going to be able to pressure this camo right away. Because of all of that, Tusk sneaks away with it. So even when Cycle goes down, he has the smart positioning to open up something like camo for his team. That's a huge play there from Cycle. Now Tusk with camo.
Back-to-back camo wins for complexity and holding on to this 8-point lead as they cross that 30-point threshold of Slayers. But it's APG winning out the double kill against camo. Collect finds the takedown, holds on to that 8-point advantage, even though that camo was negated. Now Collect trapped in a corner with MVP Lucid closing in, and it's the teamwork of Cycle that keeps Collect alive. Still alive, still living.
Oh my God, Cycle and Collect putting on a bait and switch clinic as 2 members of OpTic Gaming push into the elevator. And oh man, have you guys seen John Wick where he just kills a bunch of people on the elevator? That's exactly what we just witnessed. It's almost like Collect and Cycle together equal John Wick. This is insane.
Write it down. Collect plus Cycle equals John Wick right here, right now. I can't. My brain cannot process what is happening right now. Collect with the shock rifle once again. Lucid takes down that duo. Cycle is down. Trade out of kills yet again. 10-point lead for complexity. 14 kills away from the upset of the year. Collect tosses the frag grenade, tries to find some damage onto Lucid. He doesn't have any more grapple to work with and needs to rotate out of this low ground position. He misses the shock rifle shot on the Trippy, but he finds the melee takedown instead.
And complexity go 3 down there, but the Collect play is enough to trade out and keep this wide advantage for complexity going into the 40s, looking at a 10+ lead against OpTic Gaming. But APG has the shock rifle. Camo's up in 5 seconds. If ever there were a moment to clutch up for OpTic Gaming, this is it right here.
Camo spawns in. Formal drops down into the Mangler pit. Might be looking for that camo pickup. He's taken down, though. He's killed. Collect rotates in. Collect grapples away. Monster finds the kill. I think Collect might have the active camo at the ready to utilize it. Complexity are winning every kill, every power-up, and they have the 11-point lead. I'm going to have to call my cardiologist after this. I don't know how much more of this series my heart can take.
Yeah, and for OpTic, heartbreak as we are minutes away from the greatest upset so far here. Maybe not only this year, Magic, but in Halo Infinite as a franchise. Like, we have not seen the likes of Complexity, the 11 seed, take down the 1 seed in OpTic game. This is unprecedented territory here, and really signifies again that changing of the guard that's happening in Halo. If you're not keeping an eye out, you might just end up 4 dead.
8-point lead for Complexity, 8 points away from icing up against the iciest team in the league. Tusk, once again, dictating the pace, slowing things down. I can just feel from Tusk's gameplay that you can lean into this player. When things are hectic, when things are high emotion, Tusk always seems locked in. I know he hasn't been getting the crazy amount of slays, but that impact on the game can still be felt. Keeping these young guns reined in, letting them loose at the right time as Collect finds the kill. He avenges Cycle's death with a clean takedown, able to regen most of that shield. Isn't enough to take on APG. APG and Lucid both rotating through long haul. 7-point lead, 8-point lead now, 6 away from taking the win as Tusk finds an isolated kill. Both Lucid and Formal, who are rotating long haul, they double back to the tower.
Wow, 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 wow. And with 2 minutes left, Magic, OpTic doesn't really have the clock to patiently come back in this one as we see Lucid land a headshot with that shock rifle. This is it, the last ditch effort. I feel like we've been saying that for a couple minutes now for OpTic Gaming, as Lucid only has 1 shot to work with in that shock rifle, so it's going to have to be of the headshot variety if he wants to take down his opponent. But no, it's going to be a really well-timed trade out there from Tusk. Complexity only 3 kills away from completing the upset.
Complexity can celebrate every trade. 3 kills left. Is it going to be Collect? Recently dropped from Sentinels, picked up by Complexity, making a home here for himself, helping Complexity to break into the top 10. Collect lines up the perfect kill. Tusk and Monster each find a kill of their own. The upset of the year. Complexity send OpTic into the lower bracket.
Wow, 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 wow. And what felt like a Game 5 reverse sweep win for OpTic going into it, but it's Complexity instead icing up with the likes of plays from Collect and Cycle. Tusk and Monster locking it down, playing smart, playing dirty, putting together maybe even the playbook as to how to beat OpTic Gaming. And you know, Magic, the entire Halo community watching this, you know who else is watching this? FaZe Clan. They have to understand that this is the tournament to strike. This is where OpTic Gaming is looking their weakest. Kick the knee down, drop them to the floor, punch them in the face, break their neck. This is it for FaZe Clan. This is the most likely chance they'll ever have to take down OpTic Gaming in an online tournament, as OpTic has not looked as strong as we're used to seeing.
Well, maybe FaZe is looking at this game and thinking this is our chance to take down OpTic, but you know what they also might be looking at? They might be starting to worry about Complexity themselves, as FaZe and Complexity will meet in the winners finals. Before we can get to that matchup, though, we are going to see a little bit of a run through the lower bracket. A couple of teams that we haven't talked about but are right on the cusp of that top 3, top 4 placement. It's G1 versus SSG on the other side. Let's relive some of these highlights to let my heart have a time to maybe slow down just a little.
And I really hope we can go, we get slow-mo and really break down that bait and switch at the elevator with Cycle and Collect. Yes. Because that was you always ask Magic, you know, what was the moment? That was the moment for Complexity where OpTic had a strong tear through the A tower, and Cycle and Collect standing back to back, take down APG. Now you have Lucid, the MVP, pushing it, and then look at Cycle here coming in from the Mangler side, supporting Lucid, and then another player for OpTic Gaming pushes in. This is the best bait and switch version of teamwork in Halo you will ever see, as 3 world champs push into A to take on 2 of Complexity, and the 2 for Complexity and Cycle and Collect take them all down, take OpTic Gaming down, take this series in the upset of the year, upset of this title franchise in Halo Infinite, as we see the 11 seed look like the 1 seed take the 1 seed down. Wow.